30-year mortgage rates pretty much follow the 10-year treasury. And I had mentioned last time that I like to look at the 10-year treasury to kind of predict what the mortgage rates are going to do. This is not great for mortgage rates. Again, if I was a bet man, not financial advice. I'm not telling you to invest or not invest, but based on the trend it's in and the fact it's bouncing off this, what was resistance, now it's support. I would say that my forecast would be that the rates are going to probably go a little higher from here.
Okay.
So at least in the near term. But
let's get down to it. Jimmy and Rodney, they're gonna walk you through it, from the market trends to the best spots in town. Stop and real talk, we got it all going down.
And thank you for joining us on another episode of Sci-Fair Real Talk. We are your hosts. My name is Jim Mulholland.
And I am Rodney Jordan.
And again, this is episode 3. And let's get right to it. The big news from this past, well, since our last episode actually happened yesterday. The big CPI release in terms of real estate, stock market. But that was the big news. The inflation, CPI, is the consumer price index. It is what the Federal Reserve or the government uses to see how inflation is. So see if our spending or prices are going
I can't wait to see.
Higher, a little higher than expected. But the numbers yesterday were a little higher than expected.
Well, for some, it was higher than expected. I think you kind of had a little information that kind of saw this coming.
I had no idea what the CPI was going to be honest. No, I was strictly looking at a technical analysis of a chart, but the big thing on CPI is it affects mortgage rates. So that's how it relates to us in the real estate industry, because it's when inflation's going higher, the powers that be think that means that we may not be lowering the core interest rates, which in turn affects the mortgage rate. And if you look here, in a day, the mortgage rate jumped from basically 7% up to 7.34. So a quarter percent. So if you're holding out to get a mortgage to lock in on that rate, you missed on a 0.25% yesterday. So that actually was not good. So my apologies to those people that are locking in right now. Things move quick, right? I mean, we had a big jump here. This was early February, jumped up. And then kind of settled down a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
We've had a lot of people saying, a lot of the buyers are saying, I'm waiting on rates. And I'm sure the real estate community has heard that from customers and clients. They're saying, I'm waiting on rates to see what they're going to do. And then this was a shift in the other direction.
Right. Because a lot of people have been thinking rates are going to go down, right? There's been a lot of experts saying by the end of, at least 2023 and by the end of 2024, they're seeing rates back into the 5s. And it hasn't happened. But we discussed this.
Yes, we did.
Last episode. Again, the 10-year treasury is the clues we're looking at here. What's going on with the 10-year treasury? Again, 2.5% to 3% higher than a 10-year treasury, what you expect a 30-year mortgage to be. And last week, talking about technical analysis, we had gone through what was resistance here at basically 4.3%. We went through that resistance. And we're last week, so it was basically on Friday, I said, hey, we're retesting this support. We're retesting. And at the time that we were on last week, we were going up. So it's like, oh, look at that. It's going up. I was like, well, you want it to drop through this point in order for it to feel comfortable to drop through. Said, but the fact it's bouncing off of it makes me think it's a retest. And I said at the time, short term, I feel that the rates are going up.
Yeah, you gave a good analogy on that during our scoreboard, our sales meeting, when you talked about it being like a spring. You're just like, imagine a spring and you're compressing it down and boom, it just pops.
Pops up, yep. Wow. So, and that was a little long term. I mean, that was really, you can see that when you kind of pull out long term and look, see what happened over COVID. But the fact that we're still in this uptrend, So that was what I was saying. Popped down, retested, and then jumped. And this is yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So the rate went up 4% yesterday, the 10-year treasury. So, which is one of its bigger pops. So, as long as we stay over this, and we'll, like I said, we'll look at this because this is so meaningful and important for people looking in real estate and looking to buy a house. And people keep waiting for it to go down. I'm just not seeing it yet. We really need for it to drop through this uptrend to have a prolonged downtrend to get back to those 5%, the 6% even. Because look at this, Rodney. Even if it goes down here and bops off this, which it could do.
Okay.
But we're still talking 4.4. So we're still talking 7%.
Yeah, we're still
6.75. So in order to get back down to the sixes, I mean, we need to be back down here.
Boy.
So we need, or
we
lower.
have a ways to go.
Yeah. So we have a ways to go. So,
wow.
But yeah, stay here. Trend's still going
We're
upward.
gonna keep watching it.
Yeah, we'll keep watching it. If I was a betting man, I would say it would probably go up to this point here at least, which would be 4.8.
Okay.
So 4.8 plus say 2.5, we're looking at 7.5 interest rate. If we're 3, we're closing in on 8. What we don't want here, that's going to be 8%, right? Or closer to it if it gets back up to this 5%. But this will probably be good. I mean, this will be right where the uptrend kind of goes. Then this is where, when this last uptrend started to go down right here. So that was caught an immediate reaction. This was in October.
Okay.
October, right before everything started crashing. So this is where we started getting a reaction right here. So in technical analysis terms, you can kind of assume that we're going to retest that little area there. So that would be kind of where I would think we could probably go up to. And then hopefully we would get a pretty big step back. But that's another over 0.25% from here. So another 0.25% to get to that point. So
yeah. Well, for those buyers or people that are out there and they're kind of doing that double Dutch thing when they're waiting to jump in and get in the market. We always say, you marry the house, date the rate.
Right.
Get it. But it looks like it's going up. So if you're getting now, you're lower than you will be in the future. So definitely marry the house, date the rate.
Right.
Let's go.
There you go. Yeah, that's it.
Let's go. I mean, they've been promising us this since I remember December, a lot of 2023, a lot of the articles about the rate cuts. And that was the big hope, the big drive into 2024. They're saying, wait, they're going to cut rates. And
the Fed came out and did say they're planning on 3 rate cuts this year.
Yeah.
But I did hear after the CPI yesterday that now they're thinking, or that was the pundits on CNBC and the business shows were saying, well, they foresee them lowering that to just 2 rate cuts possibly. So the Fed hasn't spoke about this yet, but with the CPI being higher than expected, they're thinking maybe it's only 2. So, which is what caused the market to do what it did.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's definitely something you want to keep your eyes on. Working in real estate, or whether you're a professional or you're thinking about buying a home or selling. Homes got a little bit more expensive, is what we're saying. It's a little bit a little bit more for those that are out here and purchasing with mortgages. Something to keep your eye on. So. Also too, for those people that are under contract, I always care about my people in new build, new construction. If you can lock, if you can lock your rate at any time, kind of looking at this kind of data, maybe something to be talking to your loan professional about.
Maybe, especially if you have to lock here within the next a couple of weeks, maybe. If you're still, I don't know, it's tough to say. You never know what the market's going to do, but I would leaning for it to go higher in the near term still a little bit more. So it could be a good time to lock it in, but man, it's tough to do when it just jumped a 0.25%.
I know.
That is a tough call to make. So
it's tough to let's lock.
Get it. Yeah, right. Yeah, let's play. The rate's just jacked up. Let's go and lock. It may make sense. So
we'll see.
We'll see.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Well, what else is going on? Should we do some real news?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what the people are. They've been asking for. We got some feedback, and people love that section. So let's jump into our real news section of Sci-Fi Real Talk.
So I think the biggest news from last week, or since our last episode, was definitely that solar eclipse.
Yes.
Which was a complete washout here. Literally nothing but rain here in Cypress, Texas, in Houston, the entire southeast Texas, nothing but rain.
Yeah, it was so cloudy. It
yeah.
was so
I
cloudy.
couldn't see a thing. And,
Yeah.
you know, I was thinking with all the clouds, and actually Natalie, one of our agents, said the same thing via chat, but with the clouds, and it was a 96% totality here. I
Really?
was thinking it was going to be almost black.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was
was
a
like-
little darker, cloudy day. Nothing
That's
happened.
pretty it.
Yeah.
But I will say we did celebrate a lot of the places where that song "Total Eclipse of the Heart" was
yeah.
being played,
Classic.
and we actually played it here in the office.
Nice.
So that was fun. I know
Who
Amy was
sings
telling
that?
me that.
Who
I don't
sing-
know who sings that.
I don't know. Man, I'm usually pretty good at
Eclipse of
80s
my
pop.
heart. Someone's gonna hear this
I know.
lyric and
Turn around,
Yeah.
bright
I love
eyes.
it. Jim goes straight to the ballad. He goes straight to the ballad section of it.
Anyway,
Anyway.
so that was So for those people that did get to see it, Central Texas, I
Yeah.
know had a lot of really cool totality. Dallas area, Austin, San Antonio.
Yeah.
We just
Hey,
didn't get that
speaking
here.
of Dallas, I was reading this article on the local news there. They were at Southwest Airlines. They were having what they called a solar flights that you could take. So you could go take a flight with Southwest Airlines, and it says here they were like 35,000 square feet up, and just to get above those clouds probably, and just to get a view of the solar eclipse. So
Nice, and it's
yeah.
not. They're not square feet up. You're thinking too much
yes.
real estate.
Yes, I'm thinking real estate. That's actually feet up.
would be-
Yes, that's right. They're not going to be in MLS, people. So if you're looking for some
Yes,
big home like
35,000.
that.
But that's cool. I did not know that about Southwest. That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I
Yeah.
thought about that because Kyle was just ranting and raving about Southwest. I think he has a trip coming up or something like that. It just made me
Nice.
think about them. And, you know, shout out to Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
But yeah.
That's good. Any other news? Anything else?
Well, we've been looking at the rates. We've talked about that and kind of what's going on there. The big news we had, of course, with being the solar eclipse. But for one of the section we wanted to kind of talk about for this real news was kind of what was going on with our local communities. Other than that, good. Rodney's going through his check. I'm just going through my mental checklist, people.
Yeah.
Let me hit it.
It's been kind of quiet. It's been news wise. There's
good.
not a lot of events right now, which you would think spring, the weather's great.
Yeah.
Man, the weather's, I looked at the forecast, low 80s. So
Oh,
if you
it's
want to
been
be in
nice.
the Houston area, now's the time.
Yeah, it's been
April,
nice.
March, April, beginning part of May, late May, it starts getting a little hot.
Mm-hmm.
For those thinking about relocating, now's the time to do it. Don't relocate in August.
Yeah,
because that's
yeah.
a little rough. But no, weather's been amazing. Thinking about busting out, going swimming in the pool,
Okay.
doing that kind of stuff. We We're
Okay.
talking about that today.
Yeah, a lot of people have
pool's
been
still a
working
little
on
chilly,
the
but it's
landscaping. I've
landscaping.
been seeing a lot of people doing that. This is the time of the year to do that here, especially in this climate here in Houston. So
Yeah, and we did have the storm. Did the storm wake you up 2 nights
you
ago?
know, everybody tells me about the storm. I watched the news and I saw I forgot how many lightning strikes they had.
Oh,
It was big, like on
silly.
Katy.
It's
I sleep
crazy.
like
Tornado
a
in Katy.
baby during storms. I have no idea what's going on. I wake up and as you see limbs and I'm hearing people say they're barbecue grills or whatever patio and I wake up and I'm like, wow, that was some great sleep I got last night. Let's get another one of those storms.
We had over 3 inches of rain in my rain gauge, 3.5 inches of rain.
Oh.
And that was like in 2 hours. So
Wow.
also a staple of Southeast Texas, the storms, the spring storms are crazy. But yeah, crazy wind, crazy thunder and lightning. Our sheepadoodle Rocket, poor guy. He does not sleep in thunderstorms. So my
Yeah.
wife, Wendy, literally had to go into the closet and sleep with Rocket.
Oh,
Well, she
boy.
didn't sleep with Rocket. She laid down with Rocket
Yeah.
in the closet for like an hour and a half while everything
poor
was going
guy.
on. So it was a rough night around the Mulholland house. But when my daughter said, I was like, so how'd you sleep through the storm? She's like, well, I was sleeping okay until I woke up and there was a dark figure hovering over my bed.
Figure.
It's like, what was that? It's like, it was Mom. It's like she was looking out my window to see how our street looked. So Wendy freaked out my daughter.
A dark figure shadowy.
Hovering over my bed at 3 a.m. So yeah, that was my wife.
Yeah, it was almost right after a little bit. They said it started about 2:00 or whatever time that actually came to our area, but it was something. It
Yeah,
was something.
yeah, it was something. Is right. So
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was good, but that was kind of what's going on here. Just some crazy weather and an
Yeah.
eclipse, which is kind of weather related. But no, that was good. So,
Yeah.
but we'll definitely keep tabs on the news, CPI and weather. That's pretty much it for the past few days. So, all
Well,
right.
yeah. Well, we have a thing that we did on the last episode. We did our neighborhood spotlight,
Yes.
and we talked about it. But actually, we said something. We started saying this word, master plan community. We started tossing this around, and then
Correct.
you kind of thought about that this morning when we were setting everything up, getting ready for the show. And you're like, Rodney, we mentioned that word, but do people even know what that is? What a master plan community is? And I went, you know what? That's a good question. And
Right.
things
Yeah,
just
especially
become a
people
part of
not
lifestyle.
from the Houston
Yes.
area or Texas area. I don't think they're as common in other parts of the
Yeah.
country and the world. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, master plan communities are a big thing here, and I think they're really big in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to the definition of master plan community here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're good in Houston because there is no zoning in Houston.
Yes.
So if you're not in a master plan community, you can have a trailer or park, whatever, right next to
Yeah.
a really nice building or a mansion house or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Commercial space.
commercial space. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I thought, master plan communities, we have a lot of them in the Cypress area. So, I think a segment that I want to start doing more often is start going through top 10 lists.
Yes.
And what a better way than to do a top 10 master plan communities
Give the
in
people what
the
they want.
Northwest Texas area. So, so that is the plan to do right now. So let's go through the top 10 master plan communities in the Cypress Sci-Fair, Texas area.
All right. Brought to you by Sci-Fi Real Talk.
Sci-Fair Real Talk, baby. Here we are. This is it. So this is what the people want. So that's what we're going to give you. So
Yeah.
do you want to tell them what the definition is? So by the way, this is from Motley Fool. I got the little
blurb there.
little URL on the bottom, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. Basically, master plan community is a large planned residential neighborhood. I love that I'm reading this how they put it. In contrast to most residential developments, we're going to see it, and we're going to be talking about Towne Lake, but it's really broken down, and it's one of those things. It's kind of like a self-contained little city, and we talked about it, Bridgeland. I mean, we have a little bit of everything. There's little coves and there are little areas where you have certain types of homes, styles, you have restaurants, eating, all of those things. But it's very, very self-contained. So if you think about it, they plan these things like little cities.
Little cities,
And
yeah.
we say
And you got-
master plan community, but you guys have gas stations in Bridgeland.
yeah.
You got
We're
schools.
building a grocery store. The HEB is going right in the middle of Bridgeland
Exactly.
right now, and all the restaurants, and then schools. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said. I mean, Bridgeland itself has 5 schools in Bridgeland, and they're building more. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a city, and they have a lot more control. Unlike, like I said, there's no zoning in Houston. So basically, master plan communities let the HOA zone basically what can go where. So
Yeah, and in our definition, it talks about master plan communities often have the recreational areas, golf courses, pools. We talked about the lakes. Sam's a big fisherman, and they
Right.
got all these fishing spots and walking. You brought up a good point about Bridgeland. You said every roof is only so far from a walking trail. I remember that.
no,
From
so far from a park.
From a park.
Yeah, less than
Okay.
a quarter mile from a park.
Okay.
So
So yeah,
There it is.
if you're thinking about that, and that's not as common as you think. I know the area where I grew up, that wasn't. You have subdivisions, but they don't have the focus of a master plan, self-contained community. You're still expected to live there. They have parks, things like that, and then you go away. Well,
Right.
this is kind of the opposite. It's like no, we have everything. You
everything's
need
there.
right
And like you had
here.
mentioned before about the number of jobs even coming
Yes.
into Bridgeland and master plan communities. So they're building commercial districts. So
Yeah.
people can work, live, and play, go to school all within their little community. So
Yeah, I was reading in our meeting a quote from Mr. Kramer from Howard Hughes, and he was talking about Bridgeland. He's saying they're estimating 1,000 sales in Bridgeland this year, and as far as a job growth, they're looking for every roof that is built, a job being created.
yeah, that's amazing.
That
That's
is
great.
That is amazing. One to one.
Wow.
So,
No, that's awesome. Yeah,
Awesome.
a lot of stuff coming in.
but
so
no, if you're on the show and you're watching, definitely have that there. Just some little informational things. And thanks for putting that together, Jim.
Yeah, no,
for
it's
the
good.
master plan community. It's very thoughtful.
Let's get started. So yeah, so the 10th, and this is the number of sales. I should probably put a little blurb on what this is, but this is the number of sales over the past 365 days as of today. I pulled this data this morning.
Okay.
So if you're looking at sales for master plan communities, and again, not every community is a master plan community, but for just master plan communities, these are top sales in the Northwest Houston Cyfair area. So I believe all these are in Cyfair ISD.
Okay.
So number one, Stonegate.
Stonegate.
So
We're starting our list right there.
Yeah, Stonegate. It's so that was being built. And again, the average home build was 2002.
Okay.
But it is a golf course community, 36 holes of golf, 18 private, 18 public. This will be one of the ones that we profile and spotlight on one of these future episodes. But nice, large houses, good schools, all that good stuff. It's actually in Houston officially. The city's Houston, 77095.
So it's right there on that border when we okay.
Basically, when you go south of Barker South or east of Barker Cypress, where Barker Cypress goes that way, the other side of Barker Cypress from Cypress is Houston, Texas. It changes from 77433 to 77095, and that's where Stonegate is.
Okay, important to know.
All right.
So number 10, Stonegate.
And number 2, it's kind of an offshoot of Stonegate, but it's officially its own neighborhood, Canyon Lakes at Stonegate.
Yes.
So it's and the interesting thing about Canyon Lakes at Stonegate, even Maramisa, all these neighborhoods actually can share all of the amenities.
Yes.
So,
I'm a part of that network where we can go and you have the thumbprint and you have access to all of these gyms and other amenity centers that's in there. I thought that was very, very thoughtful. I was like, really?
So you get a lot of, it's huge. The area it takes it's a big area, all the different neighborhoods that are tied together. So
yeah.
But yeah, so that's number 9, Canyon Lakes at Stonegate. Ironically, I'm pretty sure Canyon Lakes at Stonegate is not gated.
Yeah, so don't let the name fool you.
So, but Stonegate is. Yes. Stonegate's most, if not all of it, is gated. Canyon Lakes at Stonegate, not so much.
Okay.
Coles Crossing, my original neighborhood. When I first moved to Cypress, I moved to Coles Crossing back in 1999. It was started building, I want to say 1998. So we moved there basically a year after started building. The average house that was sold in the past year was built in 2002. So I'll give you an idea of 20-year-old houses, give or take. But Coles Crossing, it was actually one of the last neighborhoods, and another one we'll profile because it is still one of the most popular neighborhoods. If you look at the charts in Coles Crossing, homes there do not last more than a week or two when they go for sale. But it was the last main neighborhood that had mature trees. Because most of Cypress that they built after Coles Crossing is basically rice fields and prairie. It's a Katy Prairie.
Okay, so they all had to be planted.
Yeah. So Coles Crossing actually is a big forest area, and I think that was a big part of its draw was all the big trees. But it also has great schools. Yes. Sampson Elementary is always rated as one of the top schools in the area. Yeah. Side Woods. Anyway, so good neighborhood. Couple pools, lots of fishing ponds, that kind of stuff, but it's always very popular. So 57 sales there.
Yeah, as a reminder, these are master plan communities. So if you're saying, "Oh, well, you guys missed this one," we're focusing right here on our top 10.
Maybe a future list will have non-master plan communities. See what's on there. That could be a good list. Yeah. A little more difficult to get because it's not as standardized in MLS. So all this data is coming from the Houston MLS. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. This is just pulling data straight from the Houston MLS.
Okay.
Cypress Creek Lakes, number 7. This is where my mom, my sister both lived there once upon a time. But it's another nice master plan community. It actually has 3 very good schools and a school center there. It's Warner Elementary and Smith Middle School, which my kids went to. Okay. And then Cy Ranch High School, all there in Cypress Creek Lakes master plan community. So. But it's actually wedged in between 2 of the neighborhoods we'll actually discuss later in this list, but right between Towne Lake and Bridgeland. It's right between the two.
Buffer. It's the buffer.
It's the buffer between those 2 master plan communities.
And for those that have to know this, there's a Chick-fil-A right outside that community.
Chick-fil-A, yeah, you're right. So that's a very popular. It's one of the new ones too, where you don't even have an indoor dining. Exactly. It's just a drive-through and outdoor dining, but it's nice. All right, Canyon Lakes West, number 6.
Yeah, Rodney's homestead.
Rodney,
Yeah.
yes, so
Fun
71
area.
sales. Yeah,
Fun
that's
area.
good.
I got sucked into the community Facebook page, and we have the ducks and all the things. So you're gonna have the walking area. I have an interesting neighbor for those that are sports fans. Charlie Murphy actually is my neighbor down the street. The guy that does the hosting for the Houston Rockets, and he does all the
okay.
pregame stuff. He wears these elaborate suits.
Oh,
I should have
right,
mentioned
right,
his
right.
suits. Like you'll
Right,
see
yeah.
these
He
things.
lives in
He
Canyon Lakes.
lives right. Yeah, right there. I see him at the
Yeah.
mailbox all the
Okay.
time there.
Nice.
So yeah. So he lives right in there and everything like that. He's kind of our local celebrity in the neighborhood.
Oh,
but
Cal, right?
Yeah,
Murphy?
Kyle Murphy. I said
Cal-
Calvin. Kyle Murphy.
Cal Murphy.
But
Yeah, that's
very,
awesome.
very real fun guy.
Okay, awesome.
And really, welcomes everyone in the neighborhood, and it's a fun community.
Yeah,
Really
good.
fun. Right, almost towards the bottom part of Cypress. We're
The southern part, yeah.
Yeah, we just took you from the buffer, and now we're down at the bottom here. So
And that's again part of the Stonegate Canyon Lakes at Stonegate Canyon Lakes West, all part of the same amenity centers. You
Yes.
can use each other's pools, use each other's parks, all that stuff. So,
yeah, we all share things over there.
right. Number 5, the newest
Yes.
master plan community. I've actually been in this place quite a bit myself for the past week or two, looking
Yeah.
for some clients, but Dunham Point. So another master plan community being built just off 290 and Mason on the
Yeah.
other side of Fairfield, which we will show here in a second. But yeah, so Dunham Point, lots of really good builders. I think they've actually done a good job with that development. It's very open when you drive through, lakes, trees, greenery for a brand new neighborhood. It's actually come along well.
Yeah, it reminds you of what you were describing. It was like that flat area, kind of. I wonder what type of farmland that was, because it was kind of reminds you of how Bridgeland was developed. Like you just said, it was kind of leveled out, and then they start building it up and things like that.
Right,
But
so
Dunham
it-
Point's nice.
Yeah, it borders the Cy Creek borders it on. It's the south of Dunham Point. The other side of the creek is Bridgeland. But no, it's been a good start for that neighborhood. It's only been around, like I said, the average home sale is 2023, so it hasn't been long. They are building, and this is kind of key in Dunham Point, they're building their own school complex. Again, they're going to have their own elementary school, middle school, and high school inside Dunham Point. So that's kind of a
Self-contained.
always a big draw when you get when you have all the schools inside the neighborhood. So that's a big thing. So Dunham Point's going to get that, I'm sure, within the next 5 years. We'll
And
all three.
right outside of Dunham, you got the Costco, you got the premier outlet centers for people to come up
It's
here.
right in the middle of all the
definitely,
action.
and some good restaurants there.
Yeah. So again, we'll profile that in a future episode. Copperfield, the original,
The OG.
the original master plan community in the Cypress area. Not in Cypress. This is actually also in Houston officially, 77095. But 138 sales, still sells well. I mean,
Yeah,
so they've
people
done a
wanna
good
be in
job.
there.
Oh yeah, so it's good. I know our own Kent Ellis. He grew up in the Copperfield area. Went to Langham Creek. So we have quite a few clients down there. But no, it's a very classic neighborhood. Highway 6, very major artery in the Metro Houston area, kind of goes right through the middle of it. So tons of shopping and dining and schools and all kinds of good stuff in Copperfield. So big. It's a very big in terms of area. It takes up a lot of space. A whole bunch of different sections of Copperfield.
Do they have a golf course?
No golf course.
No golf course.
No, it used to be Bear Creek Golf Course. Used to
Okay.
be just to the south of there, which it used to have 54 holes, I want to say. Had three different
boy.
courses in. It was really nice, but I want to say Hurricane Harvey basically did it in. It flooded it out, and it was always used for flood control, like a lot of golf courses are in the Houston area. They're used for flood control.
Yeah.
And Harvey was such a big storm and so much flooding. I'm pretty sure it just never made it back from Harvey. But it's too bad, because that was a nice course, especially for new golfers. It was always relatively inexpensive and easy to get on. But no, nothing down there.
Yeah,
So,
the OG.
here it is, Copperfield. All right, number 3, Fairfield. Another classic. Fairfield started building in the mid 80s. It says 2003 as the average home year built, 185 sales, but Fairfield started in the mid 80s, 86, 87, I want to say. I mean, it was a long time ago.
I mean, there was nothing out here then. I mean, you're really like,
Yeah, its nickname was Farfield.
oh,
So Farfield was. I remember. My parents lived in Humble. I lived in Houston. It's actually I started dating my wife now, Wendy, who lived in Houston, and I would go from Houston to Texas A&M and pass by Fairfield, and this is in the mid '90s. I'm thinking, who in the heck would live out here. There's literally nothing around this neighborhood. It was literally all by itself in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. Yeah.
And now it's like the hub. Like you were just saying, it's right across the street from Dunham Point. Everything now
Everything
is
is there.
Fairfield. I mean, all the shopping, all
You
the
name
dining,
it.
the outlet mall. It's all in that Fairfield. Again, we'll definitely profile Fairfield in the future. But yeah, Fairfield is a great neighborhood. They have the a really good sports association there. So my
really?
kids, I'm still coaching Fairfield baseball. I've coached Fairfield basketball there. They have soccer, but they have a lot of stuff. They have a nice community center. They have a heated pool, but tennis courts. They have multiple community centers. I think they have 6 swimming pools. So it's a great neighborhood. It's always a kind of a go-to, especially for people that want a really good community feel, nice nice houses, nice people. It's gonna be when don't want to spend as much money as maybe going to a Bridgeland or a Towne Lake. So
Yeah.
it's nice.
And for the foodies, that's where you're gonna find the In-N-Out burger.
That's right.
It's up
Recently
there.
built. Was
Yeah.
it December? I think they
Yeah.
opened up. Yeah, so
That's
that was
it.
good. But yeah, lots of restaurants. We just went to last weekend. We went to Fairfield and ate at the Lupe Tortilla.
I'm always at that
Yeah,
Lupe's.
Lupe's very
I love
good.
those margaritas.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what.
the
Yeah, those are good.
margaritas.
Oh yeah. All right. Number 2, Towne Lake.
All
Towne
right.
Lake. Yeah. So one of the town Cypress is known. One of its biggest neighborhoods. People know Cypress for its Towne Lake. There's a lot of there's a lot of good things going on in Towne Lake.
Yes.
The biggest is the lake.
Yes.
It's the only lake in the area. I think it's one of the only lakes in all of Houston that's in a neighborhood that you can actually take motorized boats on and go skiing. So
Yeah, I've seen those pontoon boats out there.
yeah, there's pontoon. There's limits on how big your engine can be and all that stuff. And again, we're actually going to spotlight Towne Lake here in a second, so I won't go too much.
Yeah.
But it's known for the lake.
Wait and see.
Yeah, got the schools,
Definitely.
good schools, trails, parks, all the good stuff.
Okay.
So we'll go through that in more detail here in a sec with some picks and everything else. And the number 1 in terms of sales. So Towne Lake had 277 sales, average home build 2018. They're still building, closing out, but number 1 is, and by a long shot,
Who could it be?
Bridgeland.
right.
679 sales.
And counting.
And counting.
And counting.
So average year built 2020. They're still building now. It's in 2 different school districts, like we mentioned last week. You have Cy-Fair ISD and Waller ISD. So, and you know what? We didn't mention this last week. There's actually a part of Bridgeland that's going to be in Katy ISD.
This community is just taking on multiple municipalities. I mean, you think about that development. You're going in here. I'm thinking about from the development side, just like going into Waller ISD and going into Katy and
There's a lot going on. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so Bridgeland is the biggest by far. It's going to be the biggest for at least the
And
next
growing.
5+ years.
And
It's still growing, but yeah, it's 679 sales. A lot of those are new home sales. Lots of builders, lots of stuff going on. All the schools, lots of schools in Cy-Fair starting to build schools in Waller. But great community, definitely one of the top sales places that we sell in is Bridgeland. So there we are. So that's it. That is the
That's the
top
Cy-Fair
10
Real
list.
Talk top 10.
Cy-Fair Real Talk top
Master
10.
plan
Yeah,
community.
Master plan communities in the Cypress area. There you go. From Stonegate to Bridgeland. So
got it. Good information.
Stuff. Yep.
Great stuff.
Yeah, so that's that. I think might as well go right into the profile, right?
Yeah, let's go into the spotlight.
Yeah, spotlight today.
This was number 2 on the list,
Number
and it's
2.
our spotlight today.
Yes. Let's get there. Towne Lake. Well, let me go to the Google Earth actually.
Okay.
So I kind of highlighted Towne Lake again to see where everything is. So Houston's here. Cypress is here. Gulf of Mexico down here. So Towne Lake.
There it is.
There it is. It's I want to say 2,400 acres. So it's a good size. It's not like the 11,000 that Bridgeland is, but it's a good size. Most of the development started down here in the southern end. Been slowly going northward, up and up and up, and now we're kind of closing out up here. They just started building. So this green area here, this is actually Cypress Creek. That kind of goes right through the middle of Cypress.
Hence the creek.
Yeah, you can see here, this is all Bridgeland, and the creek borders Bridgeland on the north. And most of Towne Lake is south of the creek, but they just started building a little section here north of the creek. and they're gonna have a little commercial section over here too, right here on 290.
Okay.
So if we go to their master plan map, you can kind of see again most of the development started down here. You can see this lake. The lake it's a big lake. It's
From the
not
south
a
and
big
north
lake,
this way.
compared to like a Lake Conroe or Lake Houston or something. But in terms of communities, it's a good lake, big enough to drive boats and go skiing. But you can see here, there's 3 schools in this neighborhood. One is Postma Elementary down here to the south. And then they have 2 schools in a little school complex here, Rennell Elementary and Anthony Middle School.
And that's where my son attends.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have some.
Jim, I was looking up there, the lake sides. It says 300-acre lake.
300 acres.
300
there you go.
acres
Yeah.
of water.
Good catch. Yeah, I didn't see that. So, another unique thing about Towne Lake is they actually have a 55 and better section. So if you're the age 55, you want to live in an area that does not have kids because you don't want to deal with all the kiddos, like the little ones, little bug rats running around. Maybe you like them to visit, but you don't want them to be around you all the time.
Let me ask you that question. And I know we're going off of our script, but could you see yourself at once in the future ever moving and living in a 55 plus community?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I could.
I've been thinking about that.
I mean, that's not have to deal with kids because when my wife and I go on vacations, we like to go to all-inclusive resorts, and we have come to realize over the years we have a lot more fun when we go to an adults-only all-inclusive resort versus the one that have kids because the kids, it's a little more difficult to relax. Kids running around, so 55 and older could be a place, and I'm getting fairly close to it, but we haven't talked about it yet. But that could be if you're a little more quiet and people more your age and more in common with, things you're interested in. So I could see that.
Okay, so this is a great community that has that.
Yeah,
okay.
It's called the Heritage. There's houses here. So anywhere you see the Heritage Cove, Heritage.
Okay.
So that's all 55 and better type areas. So,
Okay.
but then obviously you have the big houses. So you got a lot of multi-million-dollar houses all right here on Water's Edge. A lot of big lake lots. So some really impressive. I think some pretty famous people live out here, from what I understand. So it's nice.
Baseball players.
Yeah. So then you're gonna mention this, Rodney.
Oh yeah. The Towne Lake Cross.
Yes,
Look
called
at
the
that.
Crossing. Called the Crossing.
Isn't that cool?
It's very cool. You can
Look at
actually
that.
see when you do overhead views and stuff. It's just a perfect cross right there in the middle of Towne Lake, connected all to the main lake.
Yeah, and these are the newer sections, right? Because it kind of built from south to north.
South going northward. So, but yeah, so you can kind of go up. They have some. The Great Oaks is kind of a neat little area here. I sold a few houses in here to some clients, but those with one little have a little grove of big oak trees.
Okay.
And so those lots are a little bigger. That way they could save more of the trees. There's some custom homes there, and then some more tract builders building up there, or that built. It's no longer available. But like I said, most of Towne Lake is sold out. I think they have a few lake lots over on some of these here. But majority of the building is up here, and even that's getting close to being sold out.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of contracts up over here for clients, and there's just not a lot of lots left.
Yeah, there's not much. I was looking at the inventory in there because I knew that would come up, and just looking at some of the builders that are in there. I was looking at, we have Beezer Homes, Caldwell, Coventry. I believe you were looking at Coventry in
Coventry,
there as
we're
well,
building
too.
a Coventry. Yeah, my
Yeah.
client's building a Coventry in there. So.
David Weekly, Highland Homes. They have some townhomes in there. And we talked about the 55 plus communities, Newmark and Partners in Building. And of course, Rivian Homes is here as well too. And I was just looking at some of the price
Ravenna.
Ravenna.
Rivian's an electric car.
Yeah. I was thinking about the electric.
Yeah, Ravenna. But yes.
Which reminds me too, I need to trade a stock. But no, I was just looking at some of the inventory and everything, and I'm seeing between about 450 to $1 million as far as the spread for as town, as far as Towne Lake, and kind of looking into there. Just
You
to
can
give
see
people
here
some
too, something that's kind of wanted to point out is here's kind of borders up this Black Horse Golf Course.
Oh, yeah.
So Black Horse Golf Course goes right here on the lake. Black Horse is not officially considered a master plan community. I don't think. don't think. I didn't see it. Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think it has like any kind of shopping in there.
No, it's
So,
just homes in
it's
there.
just homes and
And
a
a
golf
golf course.
course and no schools. So,
Yeah.
but another good community. Again, when we do our spotlight of non-master plan communities, I'm pretty sure Black Horse will be there. But it has a great golf course. One of the best golf courses. It's actually 36 holes.
Yeah.
Um,
And I still got to get in that restaurant. You've been telling me about it
they
for
have a
lunch.
good place for
The
lunch.
clubhouse.
Yeah, the clubhouse at Black Horse is
gotta get
great
in there.
lunch, especially right now. This weather, going sitting overlooking the lake, overlooking
Mm-hmm.
the golf course. It's nice. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, so there's Towne Lake. Let's look at some pricing real quick.
Okay.
So if I go to cypherrealestate.com, I just go to communities and click on Towne Lake. You can kind of see where we are at Towne Lake, but you get an idea on pricing here.
Okay.
So pricing kind of, again, like Cypress in general, stayed fairly level.
Mm-hmm.
And then come COVID time, 2020 just started picking up. Once those inventory issues had supply chain issues, just kind of started pricing, just started skyrocketing again with a peak
Look at
there in
that.
April 2023 of 900,000.
Wow.
I'm guessing there's not a lot of houses sold then, but 13 houses, but still pretty crazy at peak. So $220 a square foot is where it peaked out on pricing per square foot. That was in February 23. It's come down. Now it's back in the $200 square foot range. $190 to $200 square foot range is kind of where it's looking at. Fairly level.
Okay.
Days on market again. Gone up like the rest of the area. Pretty much Houston in general, the days on market has kind of gone up. Again, if we just look at resale and take out new construction, because that always skews the data,
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of see here a little
Look
more,
at the
a little
days
more
on
flat,
market.
but the days on market still going up a bit.
Yeah.
So 87. So it's taking a little longer to sell in Towne Lake than maybe Bridgeland and some of the others. But
Yeah.
after its big run here, again, 2020 to 2022, where nothing was staying on for over a week. So, but over here, I do remember this selling in Towne Lake, how houses would kind of sit a little longer. So
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
so it's definitely took a little while longer, I think, to get his legs, but once it did, it just took off.
Yeah.
And you can see not as many houses are being sold here, right? I mean, per month they're selling
Yeah, look
5,
at
6, 7, and then during all the COVID stuff, they're selling 20 a month. So last month there's 7 sales, so I'm 13.
Okay.
But I think inventory on resales is still, a lot of people still just don't want to sell it because they don't want to get rid of their 3% mortgage rate
Yeah.
that we had talked about before. So, which is helping keep prices pretty solid for pretty much every neighborhood.
Yeah. The inventory.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of Towne Lake. TowneLakeTexas.com is our website. You can check it out. You can kind of see, get information about the neighborhood, look at pictures of what's going on there and all that kind of stuff. They do have lots of events like Bridgeland does.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
And
I
the
think
boardwalk.
the boardwalk.
Yeah, the boardwalk's very, very popular. Lots of restaurant, lots of dining in that
Mhm.
boardwalk. But I'm interested to see how that's going to be. I'm thinking later on too, a little bit in the future, we could be comparing these city centers. Towne Lake has theirs, and Bridgeland's building one. That'd be pretty cool to see, and
Towne
everything
Lake's
like
gonna
that.
have their
So
new one
it's-
too. Towne Lake's gonna be building a new
Mhm.
one there at
Yeah.
the 290. But yeah, the boardwalk's really nice. It's a great place to go,
Yeah,
just to
it's
walk
fun.
around and
Yeah.
and eat some good food. And they have the new ice cream place now. There's actually a few places that I haven't even tried yet. They got the was it that World of Beer there?
Mhm.
So they got what's the other one?
Oh, they got a lot. They
Sands
got
Boat,
First
Sands Boat,
Watch.
Torchy's Tacos,
Torchy's Tacos.
and
Got
Chick-fil-A.
Good margaritas and Torchy's. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't know that. The Torchy's
Yeah,
has
I
good
don't think I've
margaritas.
ever had a margarita there.
Yeah,
That's good to
yeah.
know. Oh,
Yeah,
you're my margarita guy.
And breakfast served all day at Torchy's. A lot of people don't know that.
I
So if
didn't
you
know
get that
that.
hankering for those breakfast tacos,
Nice.
it's Rodney's
Okay.
cheat right there.
There you
So
go.
you heard it
There you
here.
go. There it is. So, but yeah, no, in general, great neighborhood. I mean, again, Cypress is lucky to have it. So I think we've been lucky. So when I moved to Cypress, now this stuff was here, I think I was really lucky kind of moving to Cypress back in the late 90s, and all these other neighborhoods just kind of
grew around
made the area nice, right? And want to be here. So it's kind of a destination. So pros and cons of living in Towne Lake. So
Oh, Well, let's see. How do you want to break this up? Let's see. Who do we
So,
want to anger?
pros.
Let's see.
Pros, I would say, are what is the boardwalk. And
Boardwalks,
it's a hub. It's a hub of Cypress. Everyone goes to boardwalk for a few.
Yes.
I guess the biggest pro is the lake. If you're a boater, it's the only
If you
chance.
want water,
That's it. It's the only game in town.
it is.
I mean,
It is.
Otherwise, you're going out to Conroe, maybe Lake Houston, but it's not going to be as much nice dining and shopping and all that stuff. But you having a neighborhood with a big lake that you can go skiing on, that's 20 miles.
Fireworks show.
Fireworks show.
I remember you mentioning that.
It's fairly close to Houston comparatively to a lot of these other neighborhoods. If you're going out to the Woodland, they're going out to Fulshire and Katy and stuff. It's only 20 to 25 miles from downtown Houston, so it's kind of centrally located. Yeah, it's a good location.
Good access to the 290, and from Barker Cypress, you can kind of get up and get going.
Barker Cypress traffic, though.
Oh boy,
A con.
Traffic. Yes.
Traffic,
Which leads
Barker.
us to the cons. Yeah. Let's go with the traffic. There is a lot of traffic. A lot of people that come visit Cypress, they go to the boardwalk. That's one of the visiting spots. So you get a lot of the sightseeing, the tourists kind of come in, and people who are kind of exploring this area, they come to that boardwalk. So it's a lot of hubs. So you see a lot of non-Cypress people that come in and want to experience it and be a part of it. It's a good city center. It's a great boardwalk.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it. Christmas looks amazing in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. More
the
lights,
trees,
lights.
and they do a good job.
Yeah. Holidays are always fun. Like I said, the fireworks show.
Yeah.
The pool. The pool there. I've never actually been in the pool, but it has like one of the biggest lazy rivers I've ever seen in a neighborhood pool. It's huge. It goes around the whole thing. It goes through a tunnel. We need to show them. Maybe when I'm editing, I'll throw a picture of the lazy river on there.
Yeah. Insert photo here.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom. That would be so cool.
But yeah, so the lazy river, really big pool, nice gym, all this kind of stuff in the main community center. So it's a very impressive community center.
It is.
So that's pretty much it. When I first, so again, if you go back to look at my videos that I made 2011, 2010, when I did pros and cons. One of my cons, again, not probably as big of a deal now because where it's being built, but at the time they started building southern part, and it literally was built around a whole bunch of power lines. So where you have the high tension power lines. I mentioned in Bridgeland last week how everything's underground.
Buried,
Towne Lake is not buried.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of telephone poles.
Wow,
and at the time, I remember Fred Caldwell, the developer, actually, after he saw my video and called me, and one said, come down on the power lines. But two, he said they actually are working on getting some of those buried. And they did. There were some places that had like a whole bunch of poles all next to each other. There's a lot of poles.
Yeah.
So
you can see them on Barker Cypress too right. Yeah.
So it's just not, and I guess I was just used to Bridgeland at the time. You just drive through and there's just nothing, and then you go to Towne Lake and there's a lot of poles. But at the time, I wanted to say it was like $100 a linear foot to bury power or telephone poles, whatever those poles are. But it was not cheap to do. So the fact that Bridgeland did is pretty amazing. So kudos to at the time General Growth Partners, and now it's Howard Hughes. But yeah, it was not cheap to do and easy to do, but it does make a difference. And like I said, Towne Lake's done a better job of it now. But at the time, if you go back and look at my video, I think I say power lines are the
cons.
but no, taxes again were a con back then, better now. Again, so another thing people need to understand when they move to a neighborhood or to Houston area, new neighborhoods almost always have higher taxes because the mud taxes. You have these mud taxes, and I have these bonds that pay for things like drainage and pay for putting all the utilities underground and all this stuff. And once all that's paid for, the bonds get paid for to keep it maintained. It's not as expensive. So your property taxes typically go down over time. Yeah. So like Dunham Point, we mentioned earlier, their tax, I want to say, is 3.4.
Okay.
And again, starting off high, it'll go down over time. When I moved into Coles Crossing, our tax rate was 3.3. When I moved away from Coles Crossing, 10 years later, 15 years later, it was 2.6.
Okay.
So
it just needs time to grow. The multi-utility districts, the MUD, which Jim just explained, it's designed to help the community grow, build, and develop. Right.
So that's so that's a little better. But no, really not much in terms of other cons I could think of in Towne Lake, and a lot of pros. So It's one of the most popular neighborhoods. When people call and say, that's where they want to go to, usually they want to look in Towne Lake. Towne Lake and Bridgeland are the kind of the two go-tos.
They're kind of the rival communities
Right.
here as far as master plan communities. Well known. I won't say
Right.
rivals. I will say they're just popularity.
Right.
It's just, and then you got people that are they're into the flavor and the style of Bridgeland, and you explained it on the episode 2 for those that want to go back. But you explained that very well about how it's laid out, the drive, and it's the coves and not so many straight ways through Bridgeland, where the overview of Towne Lake is significantly different. So it's really that feel that you get,
Right.
So
Yeah. Towne Lake does have some more straight streets. I think their master plan was a little more laid out like city blocks more. Bridgeland kind of the curve. So you get more of the standard size lots in Towne Lake, whereas Bridgeland, you may have a little more variety in the lots. But
exactly.
that's a good point. Okay. Well, that's it for Towne Lake. So if you guys have any questions or feedback or anything that we missed or anything that we made mistakes, please let us know.
Yeah. We're here for it. We're here for it. Let us know.
We need to make the show better. Whatever we can do to make the show better.
That's it. But I feel better. I like it. How do you feel about the show?
I feel good show. I think that's a good show.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we have, right, Rodney? Anything else on the list? No.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up. That's another episode of Sci-Fair Real Talk. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate it. Sci-Fair Real Talk. Let's get down to it. So,
another episode.
If you have any feedback or anything else you want us to talk about next time, let us know. My name is Jim Mulholland.
And I'm Rodney Jordan.
And thanks for joining. See you next time, guys.
You got it.
Bye.